Hello, I'm Jack Bowman, and this is our 3220 homework 2. So I was responsible for the read domains from file function, so it'll throw an error if the file is not found, and then it will split the content of the file with a given delimiter, which is the dot. Then it will declare an empty array. Then it will run through a for loop to iterate through the split domains, and then it'll re-add a dot in between the domain and com, and then returns that array with no duplicates. I was also responsible for the read file to array function, which does almost the same, but you pass in the file name and the delimiter of that respective file, and then it splits the data by its delimiter and returns an array of the content of the file. I was also responsible for the function calls here for each of these function calls. See, it passes in the file name and it also passes in the delimiter, and then it will set those arrays to each of these variables. Finally, this is how we print the arrays before we print the table. So there's first names, and then it will just print the value of the first names array and so forth. And finally, also made a case to ensure that none of the, that there isn't one of these arrays that are empty. And if one of the arrays happens to be empty for some reason, it'll throw an error. And this is all I did for this assignment.
Hi, this is Jonathan Blansett. I'm going to go over what I did for project 2. I assembled this HTML document here. It's got a single button, a simple title, as you see here. Well, as you see right here. And so I'll step on over to, goodness, let's create PHP file. All right, I'll start off here. I did the read CSV to array function here. And then from there, we'll go ahead and create our data array, extract the data while it's not false, of course. So let's see here. Let me do some more error checking here and then just return that data array. Let's check. Let's check, get all these calls. Okay, and then I built this function, or I built this for loop to split the street names based on the colon delimiter that's in them, and store it in the street names array. And while we trim any spaces off of it, this is the beginning of our table here. So what we're going to do and make sure that there's no empty arrays before we go ahead and populate that table. So here we have some arrays that I set up to test for uniqueness. Um, we we start the generated customers right here. We've got 25 unique ones. We build the first names, make sure that they're not used more than once, or they're not used redundantly, I should say. Which the last name here, the same test, make sure that it's not that it is a randomized name. And then of course we randomize the street number, the street names, and the street types, and assemble them in an address. As we do that, we'll make sure that of course they are unique, and then we'll generate this email address. That's all Jack there though. So we go here, and I created this. I just went ahead and populated our customer array. with the first name, last name, address, and email in a colon delimited file. And then, of course, we assemble the file here, making sure there are no spaces. That period should be there. And there we go. So if we go out here, we run this bad boy.
These names are not real. All names generated in this program are for school and are completely fictitious. No one has been exposed in this video, as all names are completely randomized, fake generated names, which is the purpose of this program.
We did a little debugging as we did it. We wanted to make sure that all our arrays were populating correctly. So we output all our arrays just to make sure that they're correct, they're populating correctly, and the values that we have are values that are valid. And then, of course, we use that to populate our table here. And it shows here that we've written the data, but let's check, make sure that there's nothing wrong with it. And our customer's text.